I can honestly say that I am really glad that I reached out to the publisher of this game because I would have never given it an opportunity because the price is a little high, at least from the outside. Once you actually start playing the game, you understand how much content is actually here. I'm Nima. Today, let's talk about a game called Insurmountable. But before we get into this roguelike mountain climber, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and helps me out. So honestly, when I was looking at this game, I thought it looked really interesting, really unique, but that could be really bad. It's sort of marketed as a roguelike mountain climber, which I don't think mountain climber is a genre yet, but it will be, I'm sure. But I also wouldn't agree with the roguelike aspect either. Like, this game for me, I would say, plays a lot like a point-and-click adventure, an RPG with hints of roguelike and survival mechanics mixed in, most of which are on the resource management side. You see, as you start this game, you're given very little information, just the fact that you're supposed to be climbing this mountain, and that's your only goal. And you only have so many resources available to you, but luckily for you, there is a lot of dead mountaineers that have tried to climb this mountain before, so you can pillage their corpses if you want to. Although if you do decide to steal from the dead, it will negatively affect your sanity meter. You see, there are 4 important gauges you have to pay attention to. There's your sanity meter, your body temperature, your energy, and your oxygen. Now, all of those can be affected by a multitude of things. The first one just being how long you're climbing, like how long you're without taking a rest. Now, this affects your energy. This also can affect your body temperature. And once you get into the death zone, which is like higher up in the mountains, it will also affect your oxygen as well. So resting pretty much any chance you can get is incredibly important. But your sanity meter, as I said before, is really more predicated on things like, well, like looting corpses or going into the unknown. There is a ton of different things that pop up in this game. These events that seem to happen randomly. You are given some indication of some events, but not all of them. You see, the strategy of this game is not to just focus on climbing the mountain. You have to really set your sights on smaller little objectives, which typically comes in the form of a cave icon. When you see this cave icon, that's where you want to travel to first, because there you can rest. When you can rest and take a deep nap, you're able to refill your energy, your body temperature, and sometimes even your oxygen. But when you're making these little treks between a place for respite and your place to continue climbing higher up in the mountains, you will come across many different events that happen. Now, again, a lot of these have some sort of icon attached to them, and you really are actually trying to focus in on those and visit these events because oftentimes it can really benefit you. You can end up with a lot of different equipment and other resources that are going to help you through your venture. Although more often than not, they're not just handing you resources. No, they really just offer you an opportunity to make a decision. You see, there'll be things like helping people out, which not always helps you. Like making the right choice or the good moral choice may not actually benefit you as much as what you would think. But you'll come across different events like, oh, you stumble across a crack in the ice. You can kind of see something shiny. Do you reach down and try to pull up whatever that is at the cost of some energy? And, you make your choice. Like, do you do that or do you not? Sometimes you're going to do it, you're going to lose energy, and there will be nothing there. Although sometimes it can be something that can really help you. And these events span from everything that's environmental to just different locations that you find, to choices that you have to make, split-second decisions, and they can either harm you or help you. And sometimes they can harm you at first and then help you later. But all of these things that are negatively affected range from everything from your overall health to, again, your energy, your oxygen, your body temperature, and of course your sanity. Although the nice thing is, if you want to avoid all of those completely, you sort of can, at least a lot of them. You're still going to come across different environmental and terrain situations and events that happen. you can't avoid those, but you can avoid going after the icons and the items that you may or may not find, and just go straight trying to accomplish your goal. Although I highly advise against that, as you're going to need more resources and they don't show up on their own. You really have to search for them a little bit, especially more and more you get into the game. These journeys last so long, and you're not able to really take a lot with you. You're able to take a few things, but it's really more about what you're able to obtain while you're out exploring. One thing I think I really need to hit on is movement. So the mountain itself is broken up into like a grid-like structure, and you're able to navigate your character based upon where you tell them to go. You can click this certain grid and they'll walk there on their own. And this can take some time. It can be kind of slow going. For some people, I think that might be a problem. For me, it never really was much of an issue, but the pace of this game is typically a little bit slower. And I think for some people that could be an issue, but I also think they do that on purpose because this is about enduring these harsh climates and having to overcome things like exhaustion and your body temperature dropping as well as your oxygen dropping, and you're watching all these stats go down, but there's really nothing you can do besides continue to go forward. Well, or just die, but honestly, that's where this game really hits hard. This sense of almost hopelessness, the dread that hits you when you realize that you navigated the wrong path for your character, and you're going to end up costing them a lot because you're going to have to go back and you will be sacrificing their vitality as well as all those important aspects that we talked about, energy. And honestly, one of the things that you have to realize is sleeping outside of a tent and not in a cave is really bad. It takes its toll very quickly. So you don't want to be stuck in a place where your character just can't move anymore and it's costing you your vitality just to move. But at the same time, that's where this game also shows this incredible sense of perseverance, this unwillingness to give up and to push through whatever might be there. And there were so many times where I was almost cheering my character on. Just a little bit further, you can make it. And that joy and relief once you find some place where you can rest. And there's moments in this game where you'll be literally thousands of feet up in the mountains with some crazy snowstorms going on. You can't really tell where you're going, and yet you just keep pushing through and you keep going. And once you finally actually finish your first mission though, you do see some of the RPG elements as you do earn experience, and you can then turn that into permanent upgrades to help your character grow and make the next missions a little bit easier. Now, there are 3 different characters in the game, and there's, like I said, a very complex, deep story. Now, the only complaints I really have with the game is there are a little bit of lags or a little bit of stutters, just namely when the environment's changing or when certain events kind of pop up. It doesn't affect the game at all, but it can be a little problematic. I'll just say some of the things that, as just gameplay, are slightly annoying is when you're heading out on a mission, you can only pack so much stuff. Your character can only carry so much weight. But then when you're actually out there on the mountain, you can be full of junk pretty much. Like as long as you have slots to equip or hold items, then you're good. But I get it, because if you could just pack everything up before you even start your mission, the game would probably be a lot easier. So I completely understand that, and I won't harp on it. Ultimately, I really like the game. And yeah, I talked about the price. It's like $24.99, which I thought at the beginning, I was like, that's kind of pricey until you get into the game. You see, even on each run, it probably takes like an hour or an hour and a half, and there are many different events to complete, many different mountains that you're going to have to scale, a lot of different side quests, and like I said, I don't want to get too much into the story, but I think for the most part, you're going to be very engaged with it. You're going to be very curious on how things turn out, as it does have to do with time loops. I'm only going to say that there is much more here than just climbing a mountain. But ultimately, I really, like I said, like this game, and I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's a lot of fun. So, I don't know, I'm curious. Let me know if you guys have heard of this game, Have you seen it on the eShop? Have you thought about picking it up? Anything and everything in that comment section below is much appreciated. I love each and every one of you guys. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.